Before we get into today's questions, did you have anything that you wanted to discuss or mention before we get started?
No. Just don't forget to keep going over there. We are dropping stuff over there on Still Bombing Podcast and on all the different podcast platforms. Appreciate y'all go over there and support James and I and John because we're trying to still get that podcast up and going. Don't forget to be checking us out on Facebook. I'll tell y'all, we be dropping stuff a little early on Facebook, so y'all go over there and check that out periodically, so y'all can maybe get some of this bomb-ass content earlier than our 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time that we normally put stuff out. We're going to be doing some other interviews during the week with people over the phone and dropping them periodically out during the week, so y'all that come and check us out at 9 a.m., make sure y'all come and check us out again later on in the daytime, about 3 or 6 p.m. Because John going to sneak some stuff in periodically some days. I know I got a smoke detector going on, so before y'all restart y'all comments, they'll be over there to repair it this week, unless one of you motherfuckers want to come over there and fix it for me. Just hit me up on IG. But for all you little young kids that like to clown about a beeping on a smoke detector, y'all have y'all fun. Other than that, John, let's get on with our daily interviews.
Okay, so obviously I want to start off with the Dear Mama episode 5, the finale episode. There's a number of things that I'm going to ask you about, but I want to start off with the very first few seconds actually of the episode. Tupac's cousin Jamala mentions that 2 weeks before the Vegas incident, Tupac, in her words, was on the phone, veins bulging, foaming at the mouth, saying that he was going to blow up the Death Row studio because he wants his masters. Do you have any input on that statement?
I wasn't on the phone with him or anything, but Tupac, that has happened. Tupac was like that. I guess that probably was the day when me and David Kenner got fired. The letter he probably sent off. I'm pretty sure that was always his way of getting a hold of Suge or getting something from Suge when he wanted something. It was to call and go off. That's how James do it. That's how I did it in my little slick ways. That's how everybody did it when you want something from Suge. You call the office, going off and making threats and stuff. That's just how dudes do. But it's so funny to me. For 1 minute, everybody want to say he wasn't signed to Death Row. So if he signed to Death Row, wasn't signed to Death Row, why would he have to call getting permission to get his masters? He just send a lawyer with paperwork over there to get it or whatever, right? But that's just because idiots want to push that agenda. I always wonder why I always see lawsuits and had to defend several lawsuits. If he wasn't signed to Death Row, he just signed directly to Interscope. But that's too deep for people that, that's not that bright. I can't say that it did or didn't happen. Jamila was around. She was real young, but she was around towards the end, like they all were. Once he got the house in Calabasas, and he was bringing his family around during that process. So I can't say that it didn't or didn't happen. Like I said, if it was 2 weeks, that's about August the 27th, the day that me and David Kenner posted got our letters to be fired, which I really wish I would have known that, because I sure wouldn't have had no security on him if I knew he felt that way or felt he felt that way. And then I wouldn't be I probably would have never got on YouTube, because you motherfuckers wouldn't be accusing me of having something to do with his murder, or other than, my employees being negligent, for lack of a better word. But to sit up here and try to deny that it happened or didn't happen, I don't know. But y'all listen to this audio.
You believe in God?
Certainly.
believe in Death Row East. Believe in that, for real. That's
homeboy
it
say,
right
"I'ma
there.
ride
But
with
if
you
you believe
then."
in God, believe in Death Row East. We plan to take the same strategy we use with Death Row West, which is mind over matter, taking all our weaknesses and making it into our strengths. We know that we got strength in numbers. We already run the streets out here. So now we just gonna help some of these brothers get their money on because we know they got talent. We got the ways to make them use their talent to the maximum effect. And that's what this is about. Everybody rap. We don't rap. We rap to make money. We do business.
Okay. So after hearing that, that's September, about the 3rd or the 4th, that audio y'all just heard. Y'all see those pictures with him and Suge? Riding in the car and all of that. He must be the best actor in the motherfucking world, or he's the biggest snake in the motherfucking world, or he just did what I say and what I believe. He just was going off, if that's true. I'm not denying that it did or didn't happen, because more likely it probably did. But for him to be promoting the things on MTV News or at the award show and speaking about Death Row and speaking about Death Row East and all of that y'all just heard. Man, what type of dude does that if they really want to not be with somebody or be away from somebody? Tupac wasn't a snake, y'all. Y'all know it. Y'all, most of y'all, his fans and stuff like that. Y'all know his personality and stuff like that. He was spontaneous, yes. But he wasn't fucking with you no more. Like people that got cut out of his life. He stopped fucking with them. Y'all see any pictures with Mopreme after he stopped fucking with them? Y'all see any pictures with Gobi and them after he stopped fucking with them? Y'all see any pictures with, I ain't gonna start naming names. But once he stopped fucking with niggas, all those digital underground niggas and stuff, after he stopped fucking with them, man, I done heard so many interviews, man, I'm starting to wonder who else was supposed to have been in the car with Tupac on Vegas. I done heard so many interviews lately where, oh yeah, I was gonna be in the car. We was gonna be in Vegas with Tupac. Everybody got I'm gonna be in the car. I was supposed to have been there with Tupac's story. Everybody. So Tupac, hey, all I got to say on that is it must have got worked out. That's how everybody came at Suge that was still in the circle. That's just how you got stuff done for whatever you wanted done at the time. I'm not going to be up here and say there was times when Tupac and Suge wasn't, he was like, oh, no, I ain't doing that. I mean, I done been on the phone with Anton or whatever his name is when they were trying to get stuff cleared up with the lawyer to get a lot of those judgments cleared up. Well, Suge and they'll be like, we ain't taking care of that right now. We ain't doing that right now. Well, Pac could be like, man, get it done, And so there's always a process on things getting done. People just don't get what they want all the time just because, you just make a star and all of that. No, I'm not going to sit up there and say that it happened. It eventually happened, but it didn't always happen clockwork like people wanted it to happen. And generally, unfortunately, what they say, what's the term? The squeaky wheel get greased or get oiled or whatever. And that's how a lot of times you did have to act with Suge to get things done. Or most of the time it wasn't Suge. To be honest, it was usually David Kidder-ass or Norris or Calvin Tubbs, who was taking their time to get stuff or checks done from Steve Cantrock or something like that. And so a lot of times, Suge didn't even know about it. It was a lot of times on my invoice. I was like, hey, man, Suge, I ain't been paid in 2 weeks. My invoice ain't been taken care of. And he'd get on the phone, David, why Reg said, his security, he ain't got this bill. Oh, yeah, I'll take care of that right now, Suge. So that showed me right there that Suge didn't know. He didn't know. He had people in position running that stuff to take care of stuff. He'll tell us the night before. How many times people that, work with Death Row have been sitting in the parking lot at Canyon when you finally got a hold to him, he said, oh yeah, I have a check for you tomorrow. And you be calling by 12 noon, hey, sure, I have a check. All right, we're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. It was just a process. That's how stuff works. And I know y'all be like, well, that shouldn't have happened to Tupac and all of that. Well, yeah, it shouldn't, but it did. Yeah. It happened to Snoop. It happened to Reggie. I don't know about David Kenner because he was in control of the bag then until, Calvin Tubbs eventually became over that part. And once again, just to touch on the firing and all of that stuff, David Kenner was told to be stopped handling Tupac's business stuff as an entertainment attorney and all of that because they were.
I'm gonna ask that next. That will be a separate segment about Kenner.
Okay.
Or you didn't mean to control.
Yeah, I lost train of thought now. Yeah. Okay. Just when we do that though, just let it go, and then you always got yeah, you got editing control.
Okay.
Yeah.
You going to the next question, or you want to?
Well, I want to end it somewhere. I guess you'll find somewhere to end it. So let's go.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Last night I was like, there's going to be multiple questions.
Yeah, and you did, but yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, because I know that's going to be, y'all were fired, and I was just trying to cover that, but go ahead.
Yeah.
All right.
Also in the documentary, I don't remember who it was because they didn't show their face. It was just kind of voice-over footage. But they say that Tupac fired the lawyer, David Kenner, and he was on his way out. I know you had mentioned it before, but can you explain why David Kenner was fired by Tupac?
Well, what happened was Suge had brought in, as I spoke in a previous episode, he had brought in his brother-in-law, Norris Anderson, made him the general manager, and a guy named Calvin Tubbs, that Kenny Tubbs' brother, who was from the neighborhood, grew up with us, who was Suge's brother-in-law, Desi Tubbs, brother. And so he brought Calvin in because he had graduated from USC, real smart guy, real executive, corporate guy. I'll keep telling y'all, that's what Suge was all about, giving people from the neighborhood good positions in death row. And this fortunate, this big company, he was sharing his, his wealth with people that he grew up with and trust. So he gave Calvin an offer he couldn't refuse to leave this big corporate job that he had. So now during the transition, he's having, because he already feeling things wasn't going right with Kenner and Cantrock. Stephen Cantrock was the accounting firm that worked for Gelfand. And so now he's starting to watch his money and watch things, but he's still not alienating David Kenner because you don't do that. You don't mess with a dude that have which he eventually learned, in my opinion, you don't alienate somebody that got control over you like that. But, you tell them you're doing too much. I'm taking a load off you. I don't want you working as hard. And that's what he was pretty much, how he was using David Kenner or telling Kenner, hey, I'm going, you just focus on the criminal stuff and stuff like that. But on how Calvin is dealing with the day-to-day office stuff and approving the bills and, dealing with the accounting firm and all of that. And so that was all going on from about maybe April, May, until the downfall, which started in like September. And so he had Calvin and them going over books and doing things, and now they're in charge and making all the business, the day-to-day operation business decisions, Calvin and Norris, for sure. And so So David feeling a little distance, but you know, he still got a little control because he still got Kentrock and him and Kentrock. But that's when the big meeting happened between, well, I was there, but Kentrock and Kenner that I told y'all about, where Kentrock eventually went to the feds talking about Sugar was threatening and all that because Norris and Kelvin found out a lot of things wasn't going right and doing right. And so Suge, that's when he was telling people that, okay, Snoop, you get your own accounting firm, because he was over at Gelfand. Pac was at Gelfand. Y'all get your own people. Y'all, you know, we creating these different companies, and y'all need to take care of y'all stuff, yourselves. David Kenner don't need to be dealing with that. I'm not dealing with David Kenner no more on that business tip and dealing with him like that, you know, as far as dealing with my money and my business stuff. But criminally, I keep telling you motherfuckers, criminally, they were not, Tupac would have been the stupidest motherfucker in the world, I'll say it. If he would have got rid of David Kenner out on appeal bond, that David Kenner was the only one able to make happen. Yeah, I'll concede that anybody probably could have got the $1.5 million and all of that. I'll concede all of that. But what they didn't have is David Kenner to go and push that stuff through the court systems the way David did. And that's where David value was. And so Tupac was not firing David Kenner on no criminal matters. It was just the business stuff, dealing with, you know, his financings and his contracts. And, you know, because it really was a conflict of him handling death row and also handling, you know, the contracts and stuff was when he did stuff with Gridlock, when he did stuff with gang related. David Kenner was handling all of that, all of those contracts and stuff. And so that's what happened. That's why David was relieved of his duties, those type of duties. But never he was going to be out of the picture. And two, never was he going to not be the one handling the criminal matters, the matters. He had just got Snoop Dogg off of a murder case that he shouldn't have been. Anyway, so 3 months later, you're going to get rid of him? The best criminal attorney at the time? Okay, y'all. He was still, shit, we were doing court. September the 11th, something like that, still fighting the probation violation case that he had because of the Hughes brothers. So you don't just replace attorneys like that. If you ever been through a criminal system and all of that, you'll see that that don't happen that often. And when it does, you end up getting 28 years when you keep turning your attorneys. Y'all didn't catch that. That's too deep for y'all. But when you keep changing attorneys, that usually mess stuff up for you. So, make a long story short, he was just saying that and sent that letter for dealing with his business stuff. Apparently, he had got some attorney or something. I don't know, to start dealing with stuff. Eazy-E did it. Y'all forget the black attorney that he had. That was working for me. He had got away from Jerry Heller and their people. I forget that attorney's name that he had. But it was an attorney that Jerry Heller and Mike Klein and them couldn't stand. That Eazy and his people started dealing with at the hospital. That was locking them out and stuff like that. So it happens, you know. You learn and you eventually go and get your own people and get them involved. Suge did it. He definitely did it once he was sitting behind no jail. Most of y'all don't know Milton Grimes started handling most of Suge probation violation and all of that. He had brought a whole different criminal team in and stuff during that time. But David Kenner was still there as well. And so, yeah, that's all that was going on. If that answers your question, John.
Okay. How involved was David Kenner on a day-to-day basis with the label? Because the only reason I ask that is I see videos from like the Mother's Day event, and he's on stage with Suge, and then, different death row events, he's there, he's got the chain. How involved in a company matter day to day was David Kenner with death row?
He was Suge. As far as the business wise, he was Suge. He was the one that was sitting in there advising Suge, and even Reggie later on. This is how you come at Jimmy. This is what you need to tell Brian. This is what you should do. He was the one that was having his office or hiring the attorneys to deal with corrupt situation. He was the one that brought in Don Ray, Johnny Cochran, and all of them on Snoop case. He got Suge got him in the doors, and then he was the mouthpiece. We used to call him MC. That was his name. Do y'all remember? Anybody that was really around? The name MC, that's what Suge called him. That means the man with the microphone, master of ceremony, the talker. And I remember being in meetings, be like, okay, Jimmy, David gonna tell you what we really need. So make sure you get that done, whatever David asking for. And Suge would say, all right, let's go, Rich. And he'll let David pretty much feel it. Then David will come back and say, this is what they want. And so they played that good guy back out. Whenever David would tell him, well, Jimmy only want to do this, or they only want to do that, but I think you should ask for this. And then they come back, well, Suge want this. Suge say, well, we got to do it this way, or we ain't going to do it. David Kenner office was somebody named Penny. Y'all remember Penny, the people that was out there that worked at David Kenner's office? I forget the other young lady, but it was somebody higher than Penny. And we used to have to call, that's who we sent our invoices to. And then they the one to process it and send it over to our girl Lisa Romero. Yeah, I've heard that name. Lisa Romero was the person that worked for Steve Cantrop. Penny and Lisa were the ones that you really had the relationships with. Those were my girls. Those are the ones I talked to. But those are the ones that made it happen. But Cantrop was Lisa Romero's boss, and then Penny, and I forget my other girl name. I can't think of her name, but she was even higher than Penny. Those were David Kenner bosses. David were their bosses, and those were the ones that processed and did everything. But that's who Suge wanted out of the equation. He wanted Norris and Calvin Tubbs to deal with the Lisa Romero and eventually Stephen Cantrop to get stuff done. And because Suge didn't deal with them, he just calls David or Stephen Cantrop to see why it ain't taken care of. And then they'll usually go back and say, let me talk to Penny. Let me see what Penny haven't did the job. Or let me talk to Lisa. And so that was the chain. But to be honest, David approved the invoices. David approved everything. Suge was just there making sure people got stuff done, decide who was going to be the ones doing it. And once it got done, making that shit look good and taking it to Jimmy and saying, Jimmy, listen to this. All right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do a video this way saying this. We're going to do, after he talked to his people, I'm not saying he was the one that created the videos and stuff, but he was the one that sold it and told them how much he needed. That video going to cost us about $300,000, but we're going to do this, do that. He was the salesman. That's why I always say he was the marketing genius, because he was the one that put the touch on how it was going to get done once the product was given to him. And so that's pretty much how the operation worked during the heyday of Death Row.
Okay. Did you have security guards on Tupac at the gridlocked and gang-related shoots? Because the only reason I ask is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but if I would imagine if it's a death row thing or a studio thing and you were the head of security at death row, then you're going to have your guys on him. But if it's a third party thing, like on a movie set or something, would he or the movie company have the right to get their own security guards for the actors?
Correct. And that's why I always laugh when the group is like, oh, he didn't like right, he didn't want that right way work for Death Row, not for Tupac. Okay. But look in the credits of Gridlock and Gang Related. See what security company on those sets was there. That was because Tupac spoke up and said, hey, no, my security or Reggie security company is going to be the ones on the production. We ran those sets. Not Tim Roth security, not Bellucci security. Tupac security is the one that provided security services on those sets and all of that. But, you know, that's too deep for a lot of people. I got a motherfucker that was probably somewhere trying to working at Walmart or Market Basket or something. Yeah, you know, my point to all of that is, man, Right Way was, I didn't only just do Death Row security back then. I done did stuff with Mac 10 back then. I done had stuff with every production company on video shoots, Shaq video shoots. I done had Ice Cube video shoots. I done had everybody that was in the business video shoots back then and stuff like that. Right Way was the production company you went to. Y'all go and look at that show with my girl, that's Pamela Greer now. They did. I can't think of the name of that movie. But Right Way was credited as security on that production. I remember they filmed it at a mall. God, I can't think of the name of that movie. But anyway, yeah. And so my point is, just that Right Way did security all the time for different people in the industry back then. I dropped the ball. Right Way Production Company would probably be big as ADT or ADP or one of those security companies right now if I wouldn't elect to put my security company on hiatus to keep Suge Knight business alive from 1997 to 2002. Trust me. Death Row wouldn't have been no more if I wouldn't have stepped in and did that. I really don't believe anybody else could have dealt with it. Going up there, massaging Suge Knight, massaging all of his women, you know, to the point where to make stuff happen. Everybody was going out for their goal or their agenda. Making David Kenner still be happy. Getting him to go up there and visit Suge every Tuesday when Suge is not paying him and giving him any money because he's mad because he's in jail for something that he feels he shouldn't have been in prison for. It was a rough 5 years. Yeah. Getting people divorced while you're pregnant. Man, okay. It was a rough 5 years. Yep.
Okay. Another thing that Tupac's cousin said in the Dear Mama episode 5 was that Tupac had just got all his new jewelry, all his Machiavelli stuff, but she mentioned that he used to always wear his vest. Can you speak to whether or how often you saw Tupac wear his vest? And because of the time period, I think those were hard to come by. Do you know how they were able to obtain the Bulletproof vests?
Oh, for sure. I the one that got that vest. I bought about 10 Bulletproof vests. And matter of fact, y'all see it in this audio. That was the day I got them, and I started handing them out to different artists.
He not finna have no space in there. I don't know what he's talking about. All that shit is not finna fit in there. Should have one more. Maybe in that car would. I probably got a car. In the back seat? You put it back there. I got the trunk though, boy. Shit, that trunk can hold that shit. The trunk will hold. Look how much shit is in there. That motherfucker hold about 3 4 boxes. Thank you, shit. You don't know how much do it, right? Hell yeah.
Y'all see what's in the back? Y'all see what's in the trunk of that car? That's a stack of Bulletproof vests in the back of that car. We was on our way to Vegas. We was actually at one stop, which was out halfway, not halfway out, but a little bit out the way. And so we stopped at one stop, probably to pick up Suge's car or whatever car he was going to drive out to Vegas that day. And We stopped there, and that's when I might have started handing out the vests then. Not for sure. I don't think so. I think I waited until we got to Vegas and gave them out. But I challenge y'all. I didn't put this challenge out before. Because I hear people always say, Tupac was going to have his vest on because Donna told him to wear his vest and all of that. In 110 degrees weather with a tank top on. He pulled off his shirt and put a tank top on. Well, baby, put on your vest. I hate them motherfuckers. Be sitting up making up shit. Oh, even my girl Kenya. Oh, Pac, why you don't have your vest on? You always have your vest on. Okay. I'll challenge y'all. Other than that interview with Luke, and I believe when he had that fatigue on at the Soul Train Music Awards that day. Not even 100% on that, but I really believe he did have a vest on that day. Show me a picture. You got anything you want coming from Reg? You show me a picture with Tupac with a bulletproof vest on. Y'all always say he always have his vest on. Y'all just saw a documentary with nothing but pictures of Tupac. Well, 50% of, the documentary being about him, the other 50% being about his mom and the Panther Party, in my opinion. But on any of those pictures that y'all see him with a bulletproof vest on, any of them, especially around the time he was around Death Row. I can't go back to the time prior to Death Row because I wasn't around him. Just knew him like y'all as a fan. But those 11 months when he was on Death Row, other than the time I think he did an interview with Luke and them, and that was the week that I had. I think he did it in Las Vegas, to be honest. And that's probably because he had just got the best that day, probably that weekend. Now they had the best around. They probably was playing around with them and stuff. But when at any events or anywhere, y'all got a picture of Tupac with a vest on. All of these pictures y'all see of Tupac out and about. When he had a vest on. Tired of hearing that narrative that he always wear a vest. It's not true. But y'all want to listen to other people and stuff. But this is somebody that was. But forget Reggie. Forget other people. Y'all see the pictures? Y'all see the pictures of most of the time he was on Death Row? Show me one. That other than the times I mentioned. You can't. Because the nigga didn't wear it. Suge Knight didn't wear them. They looked at them as toys. Something to say they had. Danny Boy, once or twice probably. They looked like fools actually when they had them. And then once you put them on, guess what, y'all? It took me a year as a cop. Well, maybe not that long, but at least 3 or 4 months to get used to wearing those motherfuckers every day. They make you sweat. They hot. They an extra 3 to 5 pounds of that you're carrying around that you don't have to. People, bulletproof vests is for fashion now. And those don't have plates and sand or whatever the body protector stuff in it. But back then, nobody even wanted to wear no vest. The motherfuckers was heavy, uncomfortable, make you look bigger than what you was. Only time somebody put on a vest when they knew they were going on a mission. If you want to keep it real, when you know you're about to go get in some gunplay, or possibly get in some gunplay. All right, I'll calm down about the vest. Man, I hate when people just say shit. Sounds good. I wish, because at the time I was a Seattle Seahawks fan, I wish Pete Carroll would have gave the ball to the running back instead of trying to throw it, and Russell Wilson threw that interception and cost them the Super Bowl, gave Tom Brady a Super Bowl. Come on, y'all. It's easy to Monday back quarterback is my point. There's a lot of things we wish we would have already did or I wouldn't have did. I wish I would have played a lot of those numbers that hit yesterday. You know? Oh yeah, I was gonna play number 7. Yeah, sure you was. It's good to say it the next day because you know 7 was the Powerball. I don't know. I get too deep for y'all. I know. And so I gotta calm it down. My teacher used to teach me all the time. And that's why I try to talk down to people. Not down to you, but down. So you gotta talk at an 8th grade level. You go over 8th grade level, people don't understand because most people brain cells in their education only takes them to an 8th grade level of comprehension. And that's about 15 to 20% of y'all start to notice in the comment section. Y'all some 3rd grade reading motherfuckers. All right. This Reggie being Reggie. I was telling a joke, y'all. Y'all know I respect even my haters.
Okay, one thing that the Dear Mama episode 5 really went into was an extensive amount of footage of the hospital scene in Las Vegas after Tupac was shot. After Tupac actually passed, or they took him off the life support or whatever it was, there was footage of Afeni leaving the hospital. She had what looked like security guards. Do you have any idea who those people were that were with her?
Yeah, those were my security guards. So I just find it so funny. Did y'all see Gobi or any of the outlaws or anything around her? Yeah, everybody always on security detail or whatever up there. But no. I mean, but they said they was with a U-Haul truck standing by his window, so I respect that. And that was a good call on their part. That was a good decision making, to be honest. Oh man. I mean, those, of course, that's Bill Upton and James McDonald. That were the two that was running alongside her, getting her to the car and stuff, trying to get away from the press and the media. But I try to tell you all the time. I had 2 guys, which y'all even heard in the document when they said, two of my or something recently. You know, two guys that were standing around him, working 24-hour shifts. What I had was 2 guys working 12 on, 12 off is what they were working at on those particular days. And at the hospital. So I just always find it funny when people say Right Way was fired or Reggie was fired prior to that. But I know people will say, well, y'all was doing that for Death Row and all of that, whatever. If Tupac and them didn't care or didn't like or didn't want to be around, they wouldn't have been around. So I guess it has to just to be Reggie that Tupac supposedly didn't like. If y'all want to run with that narrative for somebody that has never met him, because sure enough, was all Reggie's security guys was always around him, and unfortunately, one of the 2 that was supposed to have been with him the night that he got killed was with him as well, which was worthless as well. Even though I always give Frank a bad time, I always give him a hard time. If y'all really look at that footage, Frank did a good job of getting them out of that casino after that incident happened. Frank did what he was supposed to do that night. Just like they did when those dog pound dudes got shot up and, the trailer got shot in New York. My guys did what they were supposed to do and got them out of there and made them feel comfortable. So, yeah. So I always give them a hard time about his later actions. And that's only because I felt that he should have came and been a good witness, told what happened. He hid from Death Row, and after me taking care of him, paying him, and looking out for him, working another gig at this church. And this elected to be a federal informant versus doing his job, what he was supposed to do. Only reason I gave him a hard time. And then later hooking up with the white boys and telling lies. Ain't no problem with hooking up with white boys, because I do it, right? And John's a white man. But John don't sit up there and be helping me saying, you need to say this, because this going to help us sell the YouTube video today. And John just let me speak and let it go. He don't coach me or anything. Whenever Frank allowed those people to want to do it, and then guess what? After he go and find God and stuff, guess what he want to do? Y'all ask. There's people in the comment section that'll tell y'all. He done said it publicly. I want to meet up with Reggie and apologize for all the lies I told on him. No, nigga, don't work like that with me. Now you want to ask for forgiveness? If he would have did it, I probably would have accepted it. It's like Kevin Ackey. I communicate with Kevin Ackey at least once a week. Because he apologized. And he made stuff right. And I forgave him. So, knowing me, I would have forgave Frank. But he never did. And he let those dudes tell a lot of lies on me, y'all. That y'all still out there believe. For whatever reason. Y'all got a man that done confessed that I can't stand. I think he's a dummy. The biggest dummy, crackhead, smoking, toothless slob running out of his mouth like a motherfucking Great Dane dog. Not a Great Dane. What's those big dogs that they used to have? Sam, I forget we used to have. Sam? Those big dogs that be foaming at the mouth. That's what KBD be doing in his interviews and stuff. I can't stand that Negro. He telling y'all what happened and what they did. Y'all still want to be out there. Oh, he's lying. He ain't did that. He's a pawn. He's a pawn for who? Orlando's a pawn. A pawn for who? Why would y'all pay him $60,000? You stupid motherfuckers, because if he would have sued us in court, a white jury would have voted that death row employees was negligence, and he would have got millions of dollars. Millions. Let a nigga kick me on tape at the MGM. I'll be suing the MGM, and then found out that those dudes work for a corporation that the owner talking about he made $400 million for. Man, I would think I hit the fucking lotto. And the jury would too. You gotta understand what y'all dealing with. So $60,000 was a fucking watch this year tonight. One of his bras going on a shopping trip. This is a man that used to fly his woman first class, which tickets back then in Atlanta was $3,000 round trip, to get her hair done once a week. Because she liked this particular hairdresser. Money like that wasn't no object to that man at the time. So yeah, that's why he did that with no problem. Just explaining stuff y'all be talking about in the comment section. I could care less whether y'all believe it or not. Just so y'all know why. I'm just here to put out information because I do this 2 days a month for 4 hours total. What that take out of my life? To tell these stories. That's why. That's why I do this. That's why we do this. Peace bomb first.
Outside of, the things that we've cleared up or you've spoken on with the Dear Mama episode, the finale, what was your overall thought about the documentary from start to finish as a whole? Did you feel they did a good job, and what were some of the things you liked about it?
I love the Afeni side of the documentary. I'm gonna be honest. A lot of stuff about her I didn't know. Thought I knew, didn't know. They left it for, in my opinion, for a follow-up to get into the death row lawsuits or stuff. I don't know if they purposely omitted that part. Because they touched on it, talked about it a bit, but they didn't go into it. Like, they had attorneys, Donald David, my girl, can't think of her name now. The white attorney that they had, the female attorney, Dina LaPote, Molly, Tom Wally, people like that they could have brought in to do it. I mean, for them to bring in Dr. Dre, who we know he didn't like or have any love for, that's a defiant thing. That's Alan Hughes, because, most of y'all don't know he's about to do Snoop Dogg's documentary. And so, for them, but I would have brought the big names in too. That's what y'all want. Man, let us bring Snoop Dogg or Eminem or one of them over here. Y'all go crazy on the YouTube, right? So that's why you do that, to help, sell it to FX and the executives and stuff like that. Yeah, we got Snoop Dogg in the documentary. We got this person in it. We got M and all of that. But there's other people that they could have brought in that I thought they omitted. Even Yasmin. Yasmin would have been great for it. So there's a follow-up documentary that could be had to that series, to be honest. I understand that they did great numbers for FX. And so I can see them doing a part two to it, within a year or two. Y'all don't know that documentary took that thing been in the works for about 4 or 5 years, but hey, they did a great job. So as far as what Alan Hughes did, outstanding. Might get an award, in my opinion. I can see it getting an Emmy, in my opinion. But that was never my argument that Alan Hughes wasn't a good. I love the Defiant. So I knew he was capable of doing documentaries. My argument is, do you let somebody build their name and have that under their resume, makes a little bit of money, that Tupac had an issue with? That's all Reggie's point was. It wasn't the point that he was going to do a bad job. He threw jabs. He threw some jabs in there that y'all didn't catch. I honestly thought he would have put that, when Tupac had I call it a diaper, but I guess it was a diaper. When he was on the stage with Digital Underground, I thought he might have showed that a little bit more and stuff like that he could have did to diss him if he really wanted to. But for overall, he did a good job, even on representing Pac, in my opinion. And so I thought it was done great. Would have liked to see a little more. It's probably, but that's in everything when it's concerning the Pac, because we know so much about him. We don't sit up and talk about. There's no YouTube channels that make so much money off of Prince, even Michael Jackson. Not even Elvis anymore, that we do on Biggie and Tupac. And so I get it, so my point is, we have so much information out there about these people where we can always set up and critique. But I did learn something from it. I hope you guys did learn something from it. That's what it's all about. At the end of the day, is just to put out information. Of course, I can sit back and say, "Oh, that ain't true. That ain't what was meant. I don't believe that. She don't know what she's talking about, or this person don't know what they're talking about. They just saw that happen one day, and that's not how you feel all the time." I say something to people one day, don't mean that's how I feel about them all the time. It's just how I feel about them at that time. You know what I'm saying? And so you have incidents like that or situations like that. But other than that, I think it's worth being nominated for an Emmy, in my opinion, because of the way things were put out. Only problem I had is, do you allow a person like that? I'm loyal to the vein, too loyal at some time, in my opinion, where because y'all don't think it's things out here I can say that can generate me a lot of controversy and money and book deals. There's some things I can tell y'all about myself, Tupac, Snoop Doggy Dogg, Suge Knight, Daz, Quick, and all of them, I could tell. I just told y'all nuggets that can make y'all go, whoa, whoa. Trust me. And so, documentary's good. Don't ever let me decide to write a book.
Okay. Over on Art's channel, he's interviewing Tyrin Turner, and he mentioned that, oh, sorry, no, I had it on mute, my bad. I always mute it while you're talking in case I have any background noise. It doesn't come through your phone. Sorry about that. So Art interviewed Tyrin Turner, who was in Menace to Society, and he spoke of a situation where he got Jay Prince, or Jay Prince came to him or whatever to help fix the situation between himself and Suge over a female. Do you remember if that ever happened, and if so, what it was about?
Well, see, the timelines don't match up to the female that I know. Timelines don't match up because he made it seem like this was like 2000 or less than it lingered on. But this definitely had to have been after when Suge and Tupac, not Suge, Suge and Jay Prince were in talks of doing y'all remember the Two-Face album that they were talking about doing? Suge and when they were talking about doing the distribution deal and all of that, that's like 2004, 2005. And so that's when Suge would start back dealing with Prince, and Prince probably would have came up to the office, especially the office that he described. Number one, let me tell you about Tyrin, because I know he gonna call me because he got my number, because I had to get in the middle of some stuff between him and Yuck Mouth they put out, and I got on their show and kind of got Yuck Mouth and Tyrin to talk again because they knew each other from Rap-A-Lot days. And so Tyrin hates to be called out. Just like he come across on that where he fights everybody and want to fight, that's Tyrin. And so I guess he always said Tupac trying to be Bishop. That nigga really trying to be Kane, I think. But Tyrin seemed to be a cool dude. John, I will mess with you because that interview we could have had before, but you didn't want to do it. When I was talking about doing it about 6 or 7 months ago, when that issue went down with Yuck Mouth, and you was like, nah, we don't know nothing about it. But hey, man, Art be pulling out some questions out of niggas, don't he? He know how to get those views. He did a good job. Shout out Art. But anyway, I'm talking around it because I know who the female is, and I know it's going to get her in the comment sections and being mad. But the time that I know happened during like that Suge and Tyrin had a problem behind the female. 95, 96, 90, 94, 95, something like that. Because Tyrin was fucking Miss Chalet, y'all. Tyrin had Miss Chalet. And us not knowing that she obviously had something going on with Miss Chalet secretly. And so Tyrin, no. Tyrin. But I like the word he used recently where he said, I never had a fair one, a fight that I initiated. Which, that makes sense. Because Tyrin know he got his ass whooped behind Miss Chalet. The people that did it, I'm sure they thought it was for Dre. But now I'm knowing the history and everything, I know it was really for Suge Knight. But that's who he was alluding to. I think he kind of played with the dates on that because he didn't want to get into it and put it out there. So gotta respect that. But I like Tyrin. I like the interview that he's doing. Yeah, but the incident with the Jay Prince and coming up to the office and all of that, I don't know about. I definitely know about, and Tyrin know I know about the incident behind Miss Chalet. Because he and I talked about it about 6 months ago. And so, yeah, that's what I know. That's what I know about Tyrin Turner. Yep. And other than that, yeah, I heard he's living with Jamie Foxx now. He's living with Jamie Foxx, before his and shout out and prayer to Jamie Foxx. Hope he's doing better. Don't know what to believe on that situation with Jamie. I hope it's not the daughter covering for her dad, but I got a feeling that Jamie is worse than what they're reporting. But the daughter said, we don't know what we're talking about out here on YouTube. So I really, really hope that's what the truth is. But yeah, that's all I know about Tyrin Turner, other than what he's been putting out over there. And that he still, even though he wasn't the star of that show, in my opinion, Old Dog stole the show. It's still one of my favorite shows to watch, Minister Society. Yeah.
Okay. Did you see the video on YouTube where Dexter Isaac was being interviewed and he had mentioned how Tut and Stretch were, Tut obviously was one of the robbers, but how Stretch was in on the quad shooting thing and was giving them a play-by-play as to where they were, how long it would take them to get to the studio, and when they would arrive and all that?
I didn't see that interview actually, but I've been telling y'all that not Suge, must be talking about me up there in that pen. But Tupac felt Stretch set him up. Y'all the ones that want to believe Reggie. I be giving y'all too much game, too much inside. That's why niggas don't like me no more. They used to like me and used to could stomach this ex-cop or whatever. But I've been telling y'all what happened to Big Stretch. Y'all don't want to believe it was a drug deal that went bad and all of that. Okay. I tell y'all what I know. But, yeah, Tupac felt that way. Tupac felt that Stretch. Everybody want to try to rewrite it and want to be cool. I guess because Stretch brother out there and they cool with it and all of that. I don't know. None of those niggas don't care about too many New York niggas. I tell y'all that all the time. But tell y'all this. Pac felt that Stretch set him up. So all these people that's coming out. I think somebody from prison came out recently and said Stretch was the one doing it. I heard some interview there where then they fell off my seat like, damn, niggas been hearing this. And everybody be telling me like, Reggie, you full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about. And people coming out. As I always tell y'all, everything that Reggie say eventually comes to the head, right? Ain't there some interview out there, John, where some dude from jail admitted that Stretch was in on it, giving them play-by-play?
That's literally what the question was.
Oh, well, I thought you said the other dude, the Dexter dude.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
I was thinking that was the dude that Art was currently interviewing. That crazy Shermhead motherfucker that's over there. Y'all just know that. That's Samuels, huh? That's something else. Okay. That nigga's a big old Shermhead. But the guy that got beat up by Kane in Minister Society. I thought that's who he was talking about that did it. Okay, yeah, well, I did hear a piece of that interview, John. But anyway, yeah, I've been telling y'all that my opinion on that, what I would bet a limb on, and that what happened, and that Stretch was involved in that. So yeah, hopefully y'all hear that interview, John, and be able to play that pieces where the gentleman said that, and y'all listen to Pac lyrics in the song. Then he did say, I guess your new feelings wanted you shot or dead or something like that. Was that him or was that somebody else? I don't know. But anyway, yeah. Touchy situation, so I don't like talking about it too much. As y'all see, I'm stuttering and messing it up, but I've been telling y'all that that's what Pac felt. So I guess Pac had heard those rumors as well. On the anniversary of the date that it happened. Yeah, I like coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence. Shit happens for a reason. 1 year to the date that it happened, the man got killed. That's calculated, not a coincidence.
Okay. The day that Biggie ended up getting, the incident with Biggie at the Vibe party, can you tell me from your perspective what you remember about that day as far as security goes, as far as the death row artist goes? Anything that sounded out of place, or anything where were you gonna go to the Vibe party? Were anybody in death row gonna go to the Vibe party? Or what do you remember basically from the day that the Biggie incident happened?
Well, I remember the day was, first it was a celebrity basketball game that day. A popular, I think her name was Diana Steele. And her dude at the time, his name was Marvin. And he worked security actually for us, for Death Row, her boyfriend at the time. But they gave a big celebrity basketball game at Cal State Dominguez, which is in the city of Carsonville, right on the borderline, right by Compton. So we were all there at the celebrity game. Snoop played in it, or maybe the Dogg Pound. But I know they were all there, and so I was there. Matter of fact, I brought one of my daughters. So I think it was Brittany. I'm not sure if it was Brittany or Kayla. I had brought to the game with me, and we were there watching the game. And Snoop called me over there. I was like, Reg, because Luke was there. He was like, man, Luke gonna need security tonight because they're going to this vibe party, and we're gonna go to this party, and he gonna be out there in LA. And for some reason, I just got a bad vibe. Snoop kept saying that. Luke needs some security. And so I gave him my number and all of that. He never called. We never hooked up with him. Matter of fact, Snoop ended up backing out, and he didn't even go to the vibe party as well. Just thinking back on it now, I'm not trying to put anything on Snoop. I just always found this suspicious or funny that how Snoop was acting that day as far as security and being out there. But it could have been because of what just had happened to Pac and him being out East Coast or South, being out in LA. He was just being protective of guys that he really cared about. But I remember that happening. I remember seeing Biggie in the parking lot at the game, at the celebrity game. He never came out and went in there. But that's when he always, and I know this for a fact, and even the cops in the Compton cop stories on the first episode, where they talking about when we knew that Biggie had went to the park, to South Park that particular day, because we literally talking about a 10-minute drive away, where knowing them, they were probably just going there to pick up some weed, not to go hang out or be at South Park. They were probably going over there to see some females or pick up some weed. But I know for sure they drove over to South Park that night, because everybody in Compton talk. And, somebody like Biggie going to a park in Compton, that's big news. It gets around. So anybody from Compton know that Biggie went to South Park that particular day and had visited South Park or that area because he was cool with those Southside dudes. It was mainly because of the relationship Von Zip had with this dude named Corey Edwards. And that was really the connection with Biggie and Zip, Von Zip, and all of them, even though Keefy wanted to make it seem like it was him. It was really Corey who was the contact person for Puff and Zip and Biggie and all of them. So anyway, I remember that happening. Nobody from Death Row was scheduled to go. Everybody wanted to say Quick was and this and that. Quick was never signed to Death Row, but by that time, I think Quick wasn't even messing with Death Row or hanging around us like that anymore. So Quake was out there if he was there, like with Theo from the radio station. They were real tight. Theo and Quake were real cool. They had a great relationship. Used to be on the radio all the time with Theo. He was a big radio personality out there at the time that was hot. Other than that, nothing other than, like I said, Snoop was really on that security conscience that particular day. So I know he had no inside knowledge, not trying to sit up there and put that out. Snoop did not have any inside knowledge of what was going on. But it was just finding strange that he had taped that episode with Steve Harvey on the Steve Harvey show with Puff, saying that everything was good and everybody was good in LA. But he was really, really acting paranoid and strange on that particular day after doing that taping. And so, other than that, I don't remember anything else that was outrageous or outstanding. And no, there was no Death Row artist. They wasn't fucking with us like that. And we didn't have, and Suge was the party one. Suge would be the one that wanted to go and be at parties and stuff like that. We didn't have no stars or nothing like that we even want to be there, other than maybe Danny Boy, but I don't even think Danny had that type of juice at that time to be, to have a security guy to go and accompany him at a vibe party. We didn't have that cachet after that. And quite frankly, nobody really wanted Death Row around during that time because of all what had just happened to Pac. And should have just got convicted. Now everybody know he's going to jail now for 9 years, on a 9-year sentence, which if y'all know anything about the judicial system, you don't do, the whole 100% of the time. At the most now it's 85%, but even back then it was only 50%. So that's why he only did like five years on that sentence.
When Snoop did the episode with Puffy for the Steve Harvey show, what was Death Row in particular, if you know, what was Suge's reaction when he either saw it or heard that Snoop had done an episode with Puffy?
Like us, we didn't know, because pretty much by that time Snoop was doing his own thing, and he still had my 2 security guys with him, but I wasn't asking give me a daily report or anything like that. Marcus and Kenneth, he still had them with them. But we didn't know about it. We didn't hear about it. Didn't think anything about it. Sharita wasn't no longer managing him, so whoever was managing probably set that up. So we didn't hear about it until it aired. I didn't go into prison and start talking to Suge until about July or June of '97. That had aired sometime in March, I think. Well, before March. I think it happened before Biggie's death, because I don't think they would have aired it. So it had to come out like February or March, first part of March or February when it aired. Don't know what Suge, I'm sure he heard about it, He didn't have TVs in the county jail and stuff like that. So everything he got, just like now, I think he's pretty much getting second-handed. And when you get stuff second-handed, man, when shit come back to you after just got to a third person or something like that, boy, shit change. Man, stories changing. So how did he get it? I don't know, but I remember us talking about it because, like I said, doing those 5.5 years that nigga was sitting in jail, man, we had a lot of conversations. We was able to talk and relive a whole lot of stuff because you had people coming up, things coming up, Russell Poole running around doing stuff, talking, documentaries coming out. And so, you talk about stuff during that time. But the one thing I do remember that his opinion always has been is, I don't know how that nigga think he can start a war he didn't start. Stop a war that he didn't start. It's the only thing I ever heard him say about that situation with Puff. So how can he respect? Nobody respects Snoop like that. Snoop ain't got no juice in LA like that. How do he think? It's funny to me. How do he think he can stop a war he didn't start? How was your opinion on that?
Reggie, did you see the interview where Master P and Snoop were talking with each other, and Master P talked about going to the prison and telling Suge, "Look, Snoop wants to do his own thing. We want him. What do you want for him?" And Snoop said something smart about like, "Oh, he didn't negotiate, he negotiated," or something like that. Did you see that little clip?
Yeah. It's unfortunate that, and I truly like Master P. Tell you, Master P has always gave us respect when I had to deal with him on the times, but Master P is outright lying. He never went up to the prison. It was Brian Turner that went up and negotiated and made that deal happen. It was Snoop, it was Suge's ideal to have Master P involved in the deal. Because it was initially, y'all done heard the story about how Leo Corn came up there, was trying to get him on Def Jam, couldn't come up with the number, said that Columbia was only willing to give them $7 million or something like that for it. And then that's when Suge took it back to Jimmy and Brian and Turner, which was Priority and Interscope. They were supposed to do a combined deal. It's funny to me how his boy, Dre, didn't want to step in and get involved. But I really think Dre is the one that smashed on the deal to make it happen. Because Jimmy all of a sudden pulled out and said he didn't want to be in the Snoop Dogg business. And so that's when Suge came up with the ideal and said, Brian, you know, build it towards P. And since he wanted to do stuff over there with Master P, because he had did a song on Master P's, one of his albums, that Master P and them know he had to pay $100,000 for. And he sent that money over right quick when I sent a letter over there to him. And, you know, Master P was like, yeah, what they want, how much they want. And he cut that check right quick for 100 G's. But, so that's why I always say P has always been cool and respectful. But Snoop, P's lying. He never went up to the prison to see or meet with Suge. It was always Brian Turner. And it was really Suge's ideal to get P involved in it. Hey, Mac 10 could have probably got it if he had the money. Mac 10 said he wanted to do something with Snoop. That would have been funny. I would have loved to see that. But and it probably could happen because Brian Turner was both of their distributors, and so he elected to go the P route because P was hitting home runs 97, 98, 99. P was on top of the game until Def Jam took it back over with Jay and DMX and Redman and Method Man and all that. Man. And so. Yeah, that's what happened. I hate that Master P is spilling that lie because that's not what happened. He never went up to the prison and met Suge. I know that for a fact. Because if they would have met like P said, and anybody that knows Suge, then that phone call would have never been made to when he allegedly said about LA being big enough for the both of us and all of that. Because they would have been partners if they had met and knew each other and met each other on different circumstances. Suge is the type of dude that get up under niggas like that, that's hitting home runs and stuff like that. It's like his relationship would have been like Jay Prince was until that Virgin deal happened, that Two-Face deal fell through. It would have been like it was with Irv Gotti and them. I'm not saying it would have stayed like that, but at one point it would have been like that, you know? That's this shit. And that's only speaking to the people that really know Suge and know how they get down there. Most of y'all wouldn't understand that. And y'all be like, oh, yeah, I know, because y'all don't know. Y'all don't know. Y'all just know what y'all heard, what y'all read. So, heard it, saw it. I'm telling y'all, that's a lie. I control the visits. Y'all listen to anybody that knew who came to the prison. His women, his mom and daddy had set dates, but Suge was moms and pops coming today. If not, we'll have this person come or have this person come. Reggie and Suge controlled who came and was in that visiting room because you can only get 4 visitors a day, and other than him would be the 5th person or myself. And so we kept it. We used to call it crash. Like, oh, somebody trying to crash. And that'd usually be a baby mama out there tripping. Usually Stormy coming up there, popping up, trying to force her way in. And then she'll have to convince whoever that was sitting there to leave, and so he can see his son, Lil Suge. But yeah. But no, I mean, why? I mean, P did make it happen with Brian for Snoop, but that ain't factual how the story went. And so I don't know if he just been telling Snoop that, or if that's the story that they just made up for that particular interview. I'm telling y'all, believe what y'all want. Reggie's a liar, right? It didn't happen though. Guarantee y'all.
What do you think is the reason? Like, why do you think Snoop says what he says, and now Master P is saying what he's saying? Do you think it's because so many interview clips were inserted into the dialogue of the All Eyes on Me movie that if there's going to be a Snoop or a Death Row one, if they say all this stuff in interviews, then once it's inserted into the movie, if people go to research it, then they're like, oh, I guess it is true because he talked about it 2 years ago?
Oh, that's definitely why. Oh, I know. Everybody know. Anybody that's on YouTube and smart in this entertainment know that people can easily get manipulated. Y'all argue with me about shit about Right Way or Death Row from 97 to 2002. Stuff that I know. This is stuff I personally done. And y'all tell me, oh, this is what happened or this is what happened. The last thing that y'all heard, y'all tend to believe. And so you put that narrative out there. I don't know. I can't blame it on Snoop on this particular one with Master P. Because Master P could have told him, yeah, I went up there and got you off and all of that. He could have made it seem that particular way to him. I don't know how that conversation went because I wasn't privy to it. I'm just telling you, Master P knows it's not factual. He has never been up to the penitentiary to see Suge. He's never. When? Who made the arrangements? When did it happen? I know that because I was his scheduler. I wore so many hats for Suge Knight. I was really Suge Knight from 1997 to 2002. I knew everything that was going on and every move that was being made, other than whatever he was lying and whispering into whoever was sitting next to him at the time. He might have told them some bullshit or whatever, but other than those little private conversations between, I knew about. Even if it was on the phone with him on the phone talking to somebody, I knew because Roy and Cedric, who did the three-way call for him, because he didn't call too many people directly. Because he didn't know their numbers by heart, other than his two main women. Other than those two, Roy or Cedric was making the three-way call. And they would tell me what happened. Oh, that nigga was mad about this, or he's saying this, or they would give me heads up. The type of relationship I had with everybody. So, yeah, it wasn't no private meetings. That I didn't know about. But their reasoning for doing it is just because the last thing that people hear is what y'all generally believes. For the most part. I'm not saying everybody. A lot of y'all can read through bullshit or think y'all do. But y'all need to give up those jobs. I always tell y'all in the comments. Stop working at McDonald's or Walmart, and you need to go work for the CIA. If you can read body language is that good. You need to have a better job. I can read when motherfuckers lying and telling a lie. But then motherfucker, why you on YouTube and why you about to go to work at fucking Walmart or McDonald's if you that good? You need to have a better job. You need to go work at the county fair and sit at a booth and tell some motherfucker some truth, because you'll make a lot of money if you tell one motherfucker, damn, I don't know this motherfucker, and he just told me my life story. You get 2 or 3 motherfuckers to tell you that, you're going to make a whole bunch of money. You can't tell when a motherfucking line or stuff like that. Motherfuckers just talking about, oh, because he scratched his head when he said that, or he rubbed his ear. Man, motherfucker, my ear itched. Sorry for going on that tantrum, John. I have to check these motherfuckers that be in the comment section every now and then. They be getting out of line. You know. Yeah.
Okay. Ice Cube did an interview with Logan Paul, and they talked about death threats from Suge. Did you see that portion of the interview with Ice Cube?
I thought I saw it. I don't remember the death threat part. I thought I kind of watched it, but I was going in and out. I like Cube a lot, so Cube and Suge had a strange working kind of relationship. Where they fucked with each other, but they really didn't. But I think when they talking about that, they talking about the NWA days. Because Suge was really working for Brian at that time. Where Brian then gave Suge a whole bunch of money to deliver the NWA album. And Q was hard to deal with at that time because he was the pen. He was the man. He was the talent of the group. And he was trying to break away because he was smart. He seen the bullshit. He seen how they were getting fucked. But later on, like 97 and I know Brian Turner, that all was worked out. I remember being at the Super Bowl at Luke Club when Ice Cube and his wife came to the club and him and Suge embraced each other and said, "What's up?" in 95. That was in 1995. So I remember that incident. So I don't know if, the song No Vaseline. I know when he was mad at Dre, Cube had to give permission for that song to be on Death Row Greatest Hits. And so I know all of that. I don't know when the incidents happened. Because all I ever, Suge was in, Ice Cube, did the song with Dre. On Murder Was the Case. And so was it Natural Born Killer, I think? They had the title song to Keep Your Head Ringing on his on his first movie, Friday. So I don't know when the issue mainly prior to the NWA situations. I don't know when that issue could have had happened.
Could it have been around the and I didn't see the interview, so I'm not sure because it was like a 2-hour interview and it wasn't broken down. But maybe it was from the Straight Outta Compton stuff, maybe? I don't know.
Could have been that time. That could have been when it was talking about, okay. So, like I said, I didn't listen to the interview. Yeah, but I even had heard Q was kind of being a problem solver on that situation. And yeah, the rest of him was coming up there, but Q was like, all right, we're going to get a check for you. We're going to have some money for you. But I should. Because he know how they are. They'll tell you anything when you're in their face. And they want to get away from you. They hide from you. And so she probably was like, no, y'all make it happen right now. Right now. But that's Suge. Everything is right now with him when it's coming to collecting money and all of that. So it could, more likely it was that during that time. And that wasn't mainly because of, he really felt that he was owed money from them portraying him in that movie like that. Which, if you really know the laws, you can't do it without being owed any money. But more than likely, that was the situation with Q. Now that you bring that part up, yes. No bad dealings with Ice Cube while I was around. I remember times when he needed studio time, when Suge had him call me to set up studio at K&M a couple of times when he needed something done real quick and he needed some studio time. I remember on 2 or 3 occasions where I personally, had made sure security and engineers and everything was on set or being at K&M for the studio for him. So they always had a working, decent relationship, to my knowledge, other than that situation. Which, like I said, once again, Q was like, we're going to get a check for you. We're going to make something happen. We're going to get on top of it. So, yeah.
Okay. On our last set of interviews, we talked about how Big Un was doing an interview over Vlad. And, he talked about the Source Awards and stuff like that. Since our last interview, another segment went up where he talked about the Soul Train Awards and the confrontation of the Bad Boy crew and the Death Row crew. And, you told the story many times. His story was quite different in the sense that, number one, he had told C. Gutter to, if anything were to happen, to shoot Suge first. Don't shoot anybody else. Shoot Suge. But also that, when everything was going down, that Don Cornelius came out there and said, I don't care whose limo you get in, just get in the limo and you guys go. So he said it without saying it, that they didn't run at that event. Actually, no, he said they didn't run because he talked about how they heard Tupac and Suge on the radio right afterwards saying that they got run out of L.A., but that they really had a set schedule and a set flight, but that they didn't run.
Yeah. Well, like I always said, Biggie didn't run. I've been always the first one to say Biggie stood right there and was looking at Pac like, why are you tripping? He had to look like, what's going on? But I always jokingly said that Suge always said, yeah, nigga didn't run because he's too fat to run. Now, Biggie was the only big fat motherfucker out there that I saw other than myself. And I wasn't as fat as I am now back then in 95, 96. But Big Un was a big dude back then. He was bigger than, he done lost some weight, probably had a surgery or something. But he was a lot bigger, and I don't remember seeing another big fat motherfucker there, especially standing next to Biggie, because I would have remembered that. As far as this, if he was there or in the area telling C. Gutter to shoot Suge, okay, who knows? Was Pac was telling me to shoot them. Well, not Biggie, he was telling me to shoot the guy that was kind of brandishing the gun. But people always talk about how C. Gutter was this tough dude and had this gun. I bet that nigga ain't never raised that gun. He never raised that gun and pointed it at nobody. He kept it to the ground, like I kept telling him he better do. He never, ever raised that gun. And he did take off and run with another guy that I still to this day believe was Keefy. Everybody said it wasn't. I can't argue it. I just said it was 2 black motherfuckers with a gun. One of them had a gun and took off and ran. As far as them jumping in a limousine and stuff that wasn't theirs and all of that, just jumping anybody, he said there was other people's limousines. That ain't scary motherfuckers. No, nigga, I'm gonna jump in the limousine where my shit is in that car. My other gun, and that's where we generally left guns when we couldn't take guns in the location. Or my weed or whatever. It's in that car. I'm going in that car. Guy Cornelius, he had a dude named Big Reg too. That was the other fat nigga that was there. Big Reg was there. And his name was Reggie. And he was a big dude. He was at the door with Don Cornelius, and all they were trying to do was like, Pop, come on, man, come on, get in here. He ain't got in there, no Muslims was in the middle. They were doing a lot of, brothers and all of that. But Don Cornelius stayed at the door, And was just like, come on, Suge, y'all come in here, come on. You know, I'm about to present the award, I'm about to present the award. Now, I also heard they said it was towards the end of the Soul Train. It wasn't at the end of the Soul Train. It was right at the beginning because they opened. Now they're understanding that they have somewhere else to go. It's probably the reason that Don Cornelius made the decision to have Biggie and them open the show because the plan was Biggie to open the show and Pac close the show. Suge wanted it the other way around. Suge wanted to open the show because that's where you get the bigger ratings in his mind or back then. And so he wanted to open the show, be the opening act. And then when Don told him he was going to let Biggie do it, that's when he told him, because y'all got to remember, All Eyes on Me just came out only a month or two. Biggie was out working, and I'll be honest, his remixes were doing great. I'm not a Ready to Die major fan like all of y'all are, because y'all don't know. Most of the songs, like One More Chance and all that, were done as singles. They weren't even on the album. So I'm saying all that to say, but they were hot at the time. Tupac, won that year for Me Against the World. But Don Cornelius had pretty much told Suge, man, just come. Make sure y'all come, even though you're not going to do the show now. Make sure y'all come because you're going to be happy. The young man going to be happy. He didn't tell him that he was going to win Me Against the World for Best Rap Album of the Year, which everybody wanted. He told him that he would be happy, a happy man. And so Suge's plan was, okay, give me the extra tickets. And they always say that they saw all the bloods inside the auditorium. I played double agent that day, y'all. They didn't get in. It was at the beginning. Tupac did not get in there with all those bloods with those P-Funk shirts, those sweaters on. They wouldn't let him in because I knew the head of security, a guy that grew up in the neighborhood from his name, what? Keith Davis. Keith Davis was running the Shrine Auditorium at the time. I think he's a lieutenant or a captain now still with LAPD. But I called and gave Keith heads up. I'm like, Keith, let those niggas in. they gonna do something bad. And so he didn't let them in. And so everybody keeps saying they got in. I don't know, probably a few of them got in, but they didn't get in like they were supposed to. They went through the front, was going to go through the front, and we went through the back. It was probably about the Outlaws, Danny Boy, Suge, me, and Frank. That was it. So 5 or 6 of us, but they better be motherfucking lucky that those niggas that was at the front door wasn't at the back door.